Wellness begins where play, pleasure, and the parasympathetic meet. You were born to be you, and you were born to be well. Your body is always trying to find its way back to health. Now, here's the host of Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith.
Good Monday morning to you all, or maybe it's the afternoon or evening, or you're checking in whenever you have the time. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. Welcome, welcome. I am your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, your witchy doctor, your change advocate, and we are on the Inspired Choices Network where we choose to inspire. And today I have a guest with me, Dr. Amy Cyberlick. And we are going to go into all things healing in a unique form. Amy, like myself, was a doctor, is a doctor. She's a naturopathic doctor, and she is also an erotic blueprint coach. And she coaches people back to wellness using so many tools. Naturopathic doctors use natural tools, and guess what? Sexuality is a natural tool. So, what happens when a doctor of natural medicine explores the terrain of sexual energy as its own path to healing? Yes, my friends, that can truly be a path to deep, deep healing. So, we're going to talk with Dr. Amy today because she guides clients back to wholeness using all of her tools, which include pleasure and embodiment and awareness of your body and eroticism, which is really love, right? We're going to explore how we cannot separate sexuality from health. It's a part of our health, it's essential to health. We're going to play a little bit with the fusion of masculine and feminine energy within all of us. And pleasure and the energy of pleasure are vital for creativity, vitality, and healing. And guess what? The whole sexuality world has been shamed and therefore suppressed, and that leads to trauma. And trauma can be a source of illness. It really can, my folks, my friends. So, we are going to talk all things about all things. So, welcome to my program, Dr. Amy Cyberlick. I am so excited to interview you, hear your story. You got such an interesting story.
Thank you. My internet cut out a little bit. Let's see what happened.
Problem with my Zoom.
Oh,
Oh,
there you are. Just had a little pause.
yeah, a little pause in, you know, you say cyberlick and there's an internet problem with the word cyber, or maybe I say sex and the internet explodes, right? Who knows? I am posting from my work location, so hopefully this isn't a problem. Amy, tell us your story. Tell us your childhood. You were in the military,
Oh,
doctoring,
yeah.
eroticism. Like, how does it all connect?
Well, there's so many entry points into the story, but I'm actually in Roswell, New Mexico. Why Roswell? My father, he passed a few weeks ago. And he's kind
Sorry.
of a thread here that I kind of wish wasn't, but he is. Like my father, he brought me to Alaska when I was 6 months old. And so I spent most of the first 18 years of my life in Alaska. He's a military background. He was deeply traumatized in the military in early years of his life. And that impacted me in deep and profound ways. My dad was an alcoholic. He was emotionally unavailable or unpredictable. And later in life, he really I feel like his exploration of sexuality and kink was maybe one of the things, one outlet that he had, but he didn't have a way to communicate that with consent and the things that I teach my clients now. So I always felt kind of icky about my own sexuality. And a lot of that had to do with the way that I guess my dad maybe was trying to there's some bravado and like I like what I like and I'm not going to be ashamed of that, but what came forth is I'm going to be loud because I am ashamed of that. um
Mm.
And that just spilled over me. I didn't know how to communicate about what I liked, what I didn't like. All I knew was what it felt like to have my boundaries violated over and over and over again from
Mm,
people saying things that made me uncomfortable. And then I would be labeled a prude. Well, I'm not a
mm,
prude. I just wasn't comfortable having this conversation that I didn't consent to. Well,
right.
that kind of embodiment of sexuality that spills over everywhere. It spilled over into friendships, into sexual relationships. I had an early marriage, a sailor. I was in the Navy. Not ideal, right? But sex became a weapon. It became a tool. It became everything but pleasure,
Mm,
everything but pleasure, right? And then fast forward, and I come back from Afghanistan. I'm leaving a marriage that was abusive. I'm leaving a career field that was just sucking my soul. And I'm starting again, but I don't have the tools. I know what's wrong, but I don't actually know like how to, I know what I don't want, but I still don't
mhm.
know what I do want.
Oh, I
And so
totally
I'm,
relate.
yeah, and making choices and commitments and entering relationships from this place of I don't know what I do want. I know what I don't want. Like what I think I want is safety. And
Yeah.
all the ways that I've tried to acquire safety have really just led to more unsafety. But
Hmm.
that's literally all I know. I'm like 30 at this point. I turned 30 the day I left Afghanistan.
Oh,
I had
wow.
my 30th birthday in uh I don't remember, Kyrgyzstan. I was like, "Oh my God, I get a do-over. I get to start over. I survived this. I left that marriage, I left that job, I
Wow.
left all this scariness of Afghanistan, and I get a do-over. And what do? We do the same thing again when we don't have new tools and we don't have new understandings, right?
Mhm.
It's another version of the same thing. It was a
Yeah.
kinder version, it was a gentler version, but it ultimately led to now. And the last couple years, I was in a marriage that they say if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. Like you get two choices, growing together, growing apart. It was more growing apart than growing together. I found a few years ago, I was burning out of everything. I had a child during the pandemic. My daughter was born in 2020 in Alaska. I was very isolated. Being in that environment of growing up was not a good place for me. But we went back to try to help my dad out, and it was not a good place. It created more separation in my marriage and just I'll use this term a lot, but self-abandonment. I was doing what I thought I should do, doing what I thought other people wanted me to do, but I wasn't doing what I needed because I still wasn't really being honest about what I needed and what I wanted because that was
I,
too scary.
I want to interject for
Mhm.
our listeners because I think that that theme of what do I want, what do I need, and who am I as a human on this planet, you know, I would say the majority of folks on this planet follow paths that are mapped out for them. We are not celebrated at birth. The celebration of individuality that each of us are here differently for a certain unique path is not discussed in school. And so the comparison game of like, and trying to figure out mom and dad, mom wants this, dad wants this, my siblings want this, my teachers want this. We lose ourselves. So many of us, right? And I remember there was one test in seven, like I was little and I said, I want to be an interior designer. And my family was like, you're way too smart to do that. Like, what did that mean? Right? They're really smart interior designers, right? So then I was like, okay, I'll be an architect because that's kind of the smart way to be an interior designer. And one test said, like, I got back, these are careers you can't do because I didn't understand the instructions. And like, one teacher, one test, and I was like, all right, I can't do that. I guess I have to do what my dad wants me to do. Boom, done. Career like locked in seventh grade.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
just don't hone in on who we are. We're not gifted. The go explore, go figure yourself out. So I don't mean to interrupt, but I want our friends
No.
to realize this is Amy's story, it's my story, and it's really possible that a piece of it is your story.
Yeah, something else that stands out from what you said is I think there's a pendulum. You know, my parents did it this way, so I'm going to do it this way. I was hurt here, so now I'm going to show up like this. But all of this swinging, this isn't me. This isn't you. This is like reactionary. This is
Yeah.
like, that really didn't work, so I'm going to try this. And in that, in my experience in my first marriage, I was the abused. In my second marriage, I became more of an abuser. And not in that I like a called me. It was more like a control switch. I
Yeah.
think it's Martha Beck. She says, "Are you a spider or are you the fly?" You
Oh,
know, and the spider love. Does the spider love the fly? No, they're consuming it, right? They love the nutrients, they love the control of it. But is that love? So in my first marriage, I was the fly. I didn't mean to become the spider, but in my quest for safety, it became about control and how can I control everything around me to get to this point of feeling safe.
yeah. It's
Well,
that
spoiler
nervous
alert,
system
you
safety.
can't. That paradigm doesn't exist. Like that will crumble at some point because control does not equate to safety
It's the
because it's
opposite
all an
of safety.
illusion,
It's
all an illusion.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think like my marriage, which, you know, I love the man, couldn't live with the man, but lived with him for 30 years, right? And his nervous system and my nervous, when I recognize as I've grown, right, the trauma bonding of not being good enough, finding each other, but I needed to control, he needed to control. We both controlled in different ways and we both gave in different ways. And neither of us felt safe because it was a trauma bond.
Yeah. Well, I married my wife right after I got back from Afghanistan. Not, I mean, we met in that time period. It was pretty accelerated though. I met her in 2013. I proposed in 2014. We got married in 2015.
Mhm.
But I was looking for somebody, and this is subconscious. I've had 12 years to reflect on all this and process
Mhm.
it. But I was looking for someone who could never hurt me the way I'd been hurt before.
Mhm.
And so I chose somebody who showed up in kindness and generosity. And, you know, they're physically smaller than me and they're still like tough, you know, to protect me, but they would never hurt me. And so I chose all this unconsciously, subconsciously. And I deeply love this human. I do now. I did then in the best way that I knew how. Love
Right.
was not modeled to me as more than transactional. It's how we give and exchange safety is through this like vessel of love. And I've come to realize that that's all crap. Like I am an unlimited channel of love, right? It doesn't matter what's going on over there. I can always show up in abundant love, right? But I didn't get that back then. I was trying to keep myself safe. She was trying to keep herself safe. And what I've learned in the last few years is like that illusion of safety is a wet blanket for eroticism, for pleasure.
Mhm.
Um, Esther Perel talks about this extensively, but it's that uncertainty and that space between where eroticism is really a light. And that illusion that we are the same, that we are one, that there's no space between us, that we are safe, that is where sex goes to die.
That is, we have to take our first break, and
Uh-huh.
what a line to break on. I love it. We're gonna take our first break. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith. You can find me at drtinaplays.com because please let play be your guide. And we are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we are gonna take our first break.
Your Healing Playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is your healing playground with Dr. Tina Koopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, my friends. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Koopersmith, your witchy doctor and change advocate. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. I've launched a new website, drtinaplays.com. You can find me there. And I am interviewing today a great guest, Dr. Amy Cyberlick. And we are talking about the intersection of naturopathic medicine, the military, and yes, erotic energy, because that is where Amy intersects all her stories, all her careers. And before we went to break, Amy, you had an amazing quote. And now, of course, I'm going to ask you, I hope you remember it. I just remember it was like the most amazing thing ever. I can't remember now what it was.
Oh man, I've got some bangers, but I think it's something about safety or the illusion of control is where sex goes to die.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about erotic energy and attraction and the illusion of safety of where do you find safety in your body? Because safety, I always talk about, that's how you heal, is when your body actually feels safe to live in that parasympathetic nervous system so you can regenerate, rejuvenate, and recover from whatever has been in your past, be it a microbe or a traumatic experience, right? And you've been in Afghanistan. Let's talk about trauma. You had an alcoholic father. There's a whole thing, children of alcoholics, right? You've had several marriages. You've named two, and now recently grief. Your dad just died, right? So, how
Yeah.
do you, as a healer, because intrinsically you said you are light, right?
Mhm.
And I know you realize now you are safe to be light because you were put on this planet to be you. And
Yeah.
you are intrinsically a healer, but so much that you've had to heal. We talk about healing the wounded healer so that the healer can heal, right?
Mhm.
As a mirror for everyone else. So tell me a little bit about morphing from your traumatic experiences into the healing that you do.
Yeah. Well, let me start with I had a therapist who gave me this model that really I come back to it all the time, and it's an hourglass. And each grain of sand, it's a moment, it's a breath, right? At the top, this is the future. We don't know how much sand is there, we don't know how many breaths we have, but this is the future. And when we spend all of our thought energy, all of our attention up there, we're in anxiety, we're
Right.
in fear of the future, right? Every grain that's past, this is in the past. This is behind us. We can't ever go back there. But when we spend our attention there, we're in depression. We're in the past, right? So
I'm
our
going to add, didn't mean
power,
to
yeah.
intersect, but for our listeners, you're in depression or anger or regret or rage. So it's more,
But
or sadness,
yeah,
right? It's
but the
all of those
point
negative junks. Yep.
potentially, but I believe so in the middle, that one grain of sand, that one breath, that one moment, that is the present.
Yeah.
And in the present, that is where power is. That is where safety is. That is the only place we can act. Because even if we're in the past, we're experiencing it in the present moment. If we're thinking
Right.
about the future, we're thinking about anxiety, we're experiencing it in the present moment. So
Beautiful. Yeah.
safety to me is being in the present. It is being now. It is being in my breath. It is being in my body. And it is being aware and paying attention on what actually is right now.
All right.
So
I'm
when
going to
I came
stop you
back,
to
yeah.
repeat that because I want
Mhm.
our listeners to hear that, that safety is being present to the now.
To the now, to the right now, to this one breath at a time, to this one moment. So when I talk about being in Afghanistan, in the past, I would be deeply impacted by PTSD, but I was in a present moment experience of the past. And did not feel safe there because my mind thought I was back there, but I'm
Mm,
not back there. I am right here reliving and experiencing this present moment of something that happened back then. And I've
right.
been able to integrate that and bring it into present. And so my body knows that even if I'm thinking about then, I'm actually now. And now in this moment, I am safe. And it's only from here, from this moment of safety, that I'm able to break those patterns
Hmm.
of, thinking control will give me safety, thinking that this or that or this person or buying this thing or eating this thing or drinking this thing will give me safety. That is not a present moment experience of my life. That is me trying to do something in these areas that I cannot operate in the past or the future. And that keeps giving me more of that crap that I don't want in my past or my future.
Right.
Right. So that's the entry point here, is that's safety to me, is being in this present moment with this breath, in this body, in this awareness.
Oh my
And from
God.
that place, what do I desire now? And we have been punished for wanting things, for changing our mind, for receiving things. Someone's going to take it away or be envious, or like there's so much unsafety around desire for so many people. And I don't just mean sexual desire, I mean desire globally. I
Well, we
want
have this
money, I want
view of
relationships.
that there's limited everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the poor and the wealthy both have a belief that there's limited money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's limited sex, or there's limited love. And that's
Yeah. And that's not a present moment experience. That's
right,
fear mongering. That's being in a scarcity mindset from things that
right?
happened in the past. But from this place of safety, from this place of presence, what may I desire? How permissive is that? What may I desire?
How
I may
beautiful.
desire this. I may change my mind and desire that. But from this place of safety, I am finally able to lean into pleasure. And pleasure is a compass.
Right.
Pleasure is a compass to love and joy. And so in the last couple of years, I was like, you know what? I think my compass is broken because I can't find joy. I've got a beautiful child. I've got a loving partner. I've got a looks good on paper job. I live in a nice house in a safe community. Why am I so unhappy?
Yep.
Like my ticker was broken and I wasn't in the present and I wasn't in safety and I wasn't allowing myself to consider what may I desire. It all felt like, ooh, don't think that. That will get us in trouble and that will rock this boat that of safety that I've created for myself that ultimately is not safety because it was not what I desired. Is what I thought I should have, what I thought I would keep me safe, what I thought would give me pleasure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. There's a book by Mo Gaudelet, and he said by 28, he really did help invent AI. He's an Egyptian man that worked for Google, and he, had the dream because he moved to America and he had his beautiful wife and two kids and all the cars and all the money, and he was miserable. And he's like, "What is wrong with me that I'm miserable?" And it was his 8-year-old son, he said, that brought him back to life from depression of, wait a minute, life is lived right now in connection with myself, with my family. The things aren't what make me happy. I get to choose happiness. And
Yeah.
that he called his son like a monk in an 8-year-old. You know, he's like, he just
Yeah,
got it, right? And children get the joy of the present
they
moment.
do. Yeah, for me, that was a big changing point because right around age 40, I have a 2-year-old and I'm burning out. I'm like dreading the couple hours between the end of work and picking her up from daycare and putting her to bed. I'm like, how am I going to get through these 2 hours? And I don't want to live my life like that. And I can look at her and I can't lie to her. I've been lying to myself for years, but I can't look into those beautiful blue eyes, that pure, loving soul, and lie to her. And I am her. So how can I lie to myself that this
Oh,
is good, that
beautiful.
this is okay? Like she was that window for me because I mean, we're all these little children inside, right? And I
Hmm.
was like her, I am her. She is me, right? I was that
Right.
little girl, but she grew up in an alcoholic household with a very traumatized father, and my mom has her own bag of goodies she offered to the world. But, I was this little girl at 2 years old, and that was what was created. Did I want to create that same cycle, this generational pattern that's been going on for, many, many cycles before me? Ugh, no, I know. And so, I mean, I knew I had to change that, but it took me a couple years. Like, I didn't know how. I kept externalizing. Who's the teacher? Where do I have to go? What do I need out there
Right.
that's gonna, change things in here? And I really went on I did silent meditation, I did some psychedelics, I went to a tantra retreat, all kinds of stuff. And really what I was trying to do was find joy. I was trying to find a spark of aliveness in myself that I could share with my wife and daughter. Like that was the mission for me.
Hmm.
And what I found kind of blew everything open for me and my life. And, like what I say, it sounds kind of crude, but, what I ultimately found was myself. I found me. I found my joy, my pleasure, my turn on. I found myself. And it did cost me my marriage because what I found, and it just wasn't, I was not the person that I was. I mean, we're always pieces of that, but the person that showed up at age 30, fresh out of the war zone, like with 10 years of experience, and it's like that. So that self-abandoning, it's that reclamation. Over that 10 years, I was reclaiming bits and pieces of myself, and what the person who's in front of you now loves the hell out of that 30-year-old, but like if you'd married that 30-year-old and you met me, you'd be like, oh, this is not the person that I signed up to be, to do life with, you know? And the
Thank you.
thing, yeah.
We're going to take our next break. It's a good timing. So, you are listening, my friends, to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith, your host, your witchy doctor, your play advocate, your change advocate. And we are on the Inspired Choices Network. We are interviewing Dr. Amy Cyberlick. So, please come back and learn more about healing yourself to wholeness, really healing the whole self. So, we're going to take our break.
Your Healing Playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, my friends. You are listening once again to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith. You can find me at drtinaplays.com. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and my guest today is Dr. Amy Seiberlich, naturopathic physician, erotic blueprint coach. She combines the two to really holistically heal you. So with that, she's been on her own journey of healing. As I would say, that is what we're here to do in this lifetime. It is somehow in childhood, our civilization pulls us away from our wholeness, and we spend a lifetime trying to get back to wholeness. Wouldn't it be nice if we stayed and reminded the children they were whole and they never had to leave and come back, if you will, leave the game to come back to the game. So I'd love to have you chat with us a little bit about what's the same and different in a sense as using, I think they're complementary, naturopathy and using the erotic blueprint coaching modality, if you will, to help, and using sexuality also as the doorway, if you will. It's a doorway also to healing. There's a lot of different, breath is a doorway. There's so many different doorways to healing. But how are they complementary for you? Let our listeners first give us a little brief thing of what naturopathy is. Some people may
Sure.
not even know what it is and how you train, and a little bit of the erotic blueprints. I'm a Western medicine physician, integrative, also an erotic blueprint, but our listeners, this is maybe very new to them. So
Yeah.
give us you're very good with words. Give us your take on it.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So briefly, the way I came to this is that I wasn't having sex. I wasn't having self-pleasure, and I wasn't having sex with my partner, and I knew that wasn't good. I'll even say it wasn't healthy. And I'm a naturopathic doctor in that time. That means I went to medical school. I went to a 4-year medical school. I learned the first 2 years are just like conventional medical school. We have clinical rotations, but we had things like I had 8 credits of diet and nutrition. I had counseling. I took extra counseling classes in med school. I loved it. I learned things like homeopathy. I had 7 semesters of herbal medicine and labs. I learned physical medicine, like massage and adjustments and things like that. So add that to everything else that doctors learn about pathology and prescription writing and all that stuff. Add in herbs, add in energy. And one of the principles of naturopathic medicine, it's called Vis Medicatrix Naturae. That's Latin for the healing power of nature. We talk about the vis all the time in medical school. But for me, the evolution of my understanding is the vis is also eros.
Yeah.
Your sexual energy is it is the same as your life force. It's all the same. Your chi, your vis, your eros, it's all the same. And we can be very healthy from a clinical standpoint. We can have lovely labs. We can have a great diet. We can be energetic and like whatever. And we can still feel kind of meh about life if we're not also having this sexual energy. We are creative beings, right? I'm not just here to create babies, right? I'm here to create all kinds of things. And my creative energy and my reproductive energy and my life force energy, it's all the same thing. But
Yeah.
I didn't get that back then. I had, the normal amount of sexual health, but it was like maternity and pediatrics. It was like gynecological conditions. It was, male reproductive concerns. But what I found for myself is I thought I had low libido. And so I did all the things that a woman of my age, I was, 39, 40, just had a baby, 41, I'm doing the things. Am I premenopausal? Like, is this an estrogen problem? I did all that stuff and I just didn't get anywhere until I really started going into the realms of sexual energy and the erotic blueprints. That was huge for me. So I've just been talking about sexual energy. A Tantra retreat really helped me like reclaim and start to feel, oh, this thing is on. I just didn't feel safe to access it, right? And then the erotic blueprints, this is sort of, I call it like a Myers-Briggs personality type of your erotic energy. Like, how do you like to play sexually?
Right.
The thing is, with the medical model, we only use the sexual blueprint.
Yep.
That's one of five, right? That's one of five. That's function. That's fluids. That's, how the organs work. Do they go together? Is there pain? That's the endocrine side. Are the hormones working? It's very clinical. And if that's the way you like to have sex, penis and vagina, go for it. That's amazing. I love that for you. And if you have a problem, that's probably what you need is a medical solution. But for many, 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 many of us, maybe up to 80% of us, that isn't how we access our pleasure. And so I grew up not talking about sex consensually, right? I had stuff put in my face that made me uncomfortable, but I had early boyfriends. All I knew was the sexual blueprint and this kinky stuff my dad was like freaking me out with, right? That's all I knew. That couldn't possibly be for me. And this, I don't know. I guess I'm here for someone else's pleasure because I'm not getting much out of this. Now, fast forward, I have a marriage to a wonderful woman, right? But there's two women trying to have sexual blueprint sex. Spoiler alert, neither of us was primary sexual blueprint when we finally got the information and took the quiz, right? I'm predominantly kinky. Hello, shadows. I'm also something called sensual and energetic, and she's sensual and energetic, and we both scored very low on sexual. So without even knowing what those are, I think the listeners can get this idea that you were trying to do it this way, but most really what you like is over here, right? And
Yeah.
the tools that we have for healing are just right here.
So I tell people, like, I lived in a household with a spouse, three sons, a father-in-law, a male cat. Like, I was bathed in testosterone, and I have Dom energy because I'm a physician, right? And I was raised by a surgeon, little Dom energy, right? And I had a breathwork practice as a kid that brought me incredible pleasure. And I tried to teach my neighbors, and their mother yelled at me and shamed me that this was the worst thing I could ever do in my life. And I was like, I'm not going to listen to her because this brings me a lot of joy. But boy, did that, like, I had to do this in secret and quiet. And then when I met men, it was all about, sexual energy in the sexual blueprint. And
Right.
I liked it, but I was doing better by myself. And my husband was like, "You're broken. Fix yourself.
Yeah.
You're broken. Fix yourself." And
Mhm.
what do you do? And then I was so busy, I didn't do anything for myself when I was married because you're supposed to have your erotic energy with a partner, right? You're not supposed to make space for yourself, which is wrong. You always need to
Yeah.
make space for yourself, right? So I laugh that our I lived in the sexual blueprint. My work was sexual, my home
Hmm.
was sexual, our
Yeah.
sexual relationship was sexual, and I'm a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I need it all. And when I started
Uh-huh.
running back to myself and doing all the things that made me come alive, our marriage started to fall apart
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I was alive
That
again.
can happen. That can
And
happen.
and I laugh because it was like if our well, I always wonder if our relationship, the sexuality had been just a little bit better, I wouldn't have had the I wouldn't, I would have lived with the contentment, but I was like, no, I want more. I want adventure. I want,
Mhm.
you know, I want more out of life.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, and then when I went to the erotic blueprint thing, I was like one call. I went to discover
Hmm.
my feminine with Mama Gina. Jaya had one
Hmm.
call, and I was like, oh, I need to know more.
Yeah. Yeah. I could have said the same quote. That was my experience too. That but for a while, the shame of wanting more, of wanting anything,
Oh, absolutely.
I couldn't say it to myself, let alone say it to my partner, right? We didn't have a foundation. I didn't have a foundation of my own safety at that time. And then once I did, it became really clear that safety between us was more of an illusion than I ever realized
Oh,
because their nervous system could not handle what what I wanted to even just talk about, let alone do. Like I
yeah,
didn't even we just couldn't even say like I want you to tie me up. Like that kind of conversation couldn't even happen because of how unsafe my desire inspired unsafety in my
yeah,
partner. But what
yeah.
I've come to realize is that you know, when we take the sex out of medicine, when we turn it into a pathology, when your libido gets pathologized, we're in trouble. What's really interesting to me is like there's not a normal measure of libido. Like what's normal libido? There's no measure of that. But then we talk about things about high libido and low libido and it's like no, libido is a science word, right? It's a medicine word, but we're talking about desire, we're talking about pleasure. There's lots of
Right.
ways to access pleasure and it's normal and healthy to have zero desire for sex if it's not causing you distress. That so asexual. That is on the arc of normal and healthy,
Right.
right? So this whole thing about my libido's low, in my experience personally and with my patients and clients, is really I don't know how to ask for what I want and I don't know how to receive what I want.
And some
And
people
so I'm
don't
going to
know what they want.
exactly. And actually, I think they do. Because if you ask them to fantasize, if you ask them to wave a magic wand, they have ideas. It doesn't feel safe to say it.
I I agree and disagree because I think we have lived in such a repressive culture that there are folks who don't even know how to fantasize and don't know how to learn what additional things besides waking up and going to work they would want.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that too. And I've also, the more I'm able to spend time with these people and allow them the space to just, it's the fear of judgment that
Oh,
keeps
right.
people from
It's
being imaginative.
yes, it's probably they're not safe enough to think and to even go there.
Or to believe that they can deserve it or
Correct.
that might be good for them. I saw this movie that was really hot, but there's no way I could do that.
Yeah, right. And so I agree with you. And yeah, I think you're right even about using the words low libido, which
Mhm.
pathologizes them because I remember chatting to some college kids and I said, you know, I come and I like to speak about pleasure and sex. Oh, we go to a Christian school. I said, do you like to play? Do you like to have fun? what do you like to do that brings you joy? That's what I talk about.
Hmm.
That's sexual energy. And they
Yeah,
were
it
like,
really is.
oh, I didn't know that. Or my patient who told me her libido fell, and I said, what are you doing in your life different? She's like, oh, I go out and I run for 3 or 4 miles every day. I'm like, girlfriend, you've just channeled your libido.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, yeah, that's right. You know, so we have boxed in that sexual blueprint what libido is supposed to look like.
Well, and that allows us to take the blame when it doesn't work in a partnership too. That's
Mm,
what I've observed. So maybe
yeah.
get back to that.
Beautiful. We are gonna we'll be right back. That you are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith. We are in the Inspired Choices Network, and I am with Dr. Amy Cyberlick talking about health, wellness, and sexuality.
Your Healing Playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer. This is Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, my friends. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. You can find me at drtinaplays.com. You can find my guest for today, Dr. Amy Cyberlick, at dramycyberlick.com. And I'm going to have you look in the show notes for how to spell it correctly, because it's a long one, but it's Dr. Cyberlick. It does start with an S. And Dr. Amy, it's been a pleasure. I want to chat some more about how can people find you? How do they find you? And how do you actually work with clients in terms of, is it in an office? Is it on Zoom? Is it in person? Couples, single, men, women? Like, tell us the spiel of, and how you suggest and when you suggest people come look for healing through sexuality.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm a I'm a naturopathic doctor in the state of Washington. So I do see patients virtually in Washington. But really where my magic lies is in the coaching. Because with everything that I've learned um, through my journey through medical school and naturopathic medicine and everything, I really feel that even when we've got like a libido problem, when we've got an erectile dysfunction problem, like there's some medical stuff that needs to be done sometimes. And there's a lot of great places all over the country, people who can do that part. But what they can't do, what they don't do, what they don't have access to, like I do, is creating that space with individuals, with couples to create that safety we were talking about, to be in the present, to really work through any shame or resistance, to getting in touch with where the pleasure is. And so that's why I love coaching. That's why I became a coach and created a worldwide virtual practice so that people can sit in safety and really ask that question, what do I desire? What might I desire? How do I get it? How do I change my mind? How do I communicate it? So I love working with men, women, queer folk. I love working with couples. I'm really, I find a lot right now. I've been working with a lot of men reach out to me because they don't have safe places to talk about this. They don't have the resources they would want. They go to their urologist and they get a pill, right? But they don't get to talk about what they need to be able to show up in the fullness of their selves. And often I work a lot with sexless marriage. And so there can be a lot of shame, blame here. And, after years of not connecting sexually, it can be really difficult for people to find their way back. But it's also the most beautiful journey to be on with a couple, with an individual, to do that work, to find themselves and to learn, like, when I show up in my fullest, I can be there with someone else. I can hold their energy. I can have these conversations, and we can access pleasure together in a way that we never could when I'm not showing up in the fullness of me. So I don't know if I answered
I
all your
love that. I want to
questions.
repeat that for people to really let it land of
Hmm.
showing up in the fullness of you. Because
Hmm.
we were put on this planet for some reason. We don't know the reasons, right? But you're here to be you. I looked at the zebras when I was in Africa a few weeks ago, right? And I was like, oh my God, if zebras were human, there would be so many plastic surgeons. I want those stripes, not those stripes, right? We're always trying to change who we are rather than celebrating all of us. And we are and should be safe to literally be and show the world who we are and get to touch and know who we are. And I don't mean touch physically, although that's part of it, but
Can't be.
emotionally, mentally, physically,
Hmm.
who are you meant to be? What lights you up?
Hmm.
And you should
Yeah.
be able, ideally, to call in a partner that can hear you, and they don't have to agree with you. But they have
No.
to see you and hear you and accept you in your glory and your light, right? And you're bringing that to people all
Yeah.
around the world. And um, how do you in 2.5 minutes or less, how should
Yeah.
people reach out to find you? What's the best way for them to get to know you better and get to know themselves better? Because my friends,
Yeah.
this is Dr. Amy does what I like to do too. And, I'm doing it on a platform. She's doing it as a coach. So um, tell our listeners how best that they can find you.
Yeah, well, if you go on my website, dramycyberlic.com, you can schedule a free call. Like, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. You can spend an hour with me. We will talk about what's going on for you. What are your challenges? What are your goals? I can help you articulate that. And if working with me would be in the best interest for both of us, or if there's other tools that might serve you best, like, that is a way that I support people. You can follow me on social media. I'm on all the platforms, dramy.eros, EROS. I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I'm not
Excellent.
prolific, but I do what I can. The
You do
best way to
great
find me,
what
though,
you
is on my
do.
website.
You do it, and you do it with class and brilliance and love. And so,
I
my
do. All
friends,
the love.
yes, reach out, heal, heal, heal through love, through touch, through your body, because you were gifted this life. You were gifted that little spot in the I'm going to steal that from the therapist that you stole it from. Between the past and the future, you were gifted this moment in time right now, my friends. Make the most of your life. Love yourself, love your life, and live today in the moment. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith. You are on your healing playground on the Inspired Choices Network. Go out and be fully you for the world to see and celebrate you in your fullness, in your light, male, female, transgender, All humans, all animals are born.
If you felt something move today, a molecule, a mindset, or your mood, that's healing. Your body listens to your stories, your thoughts, your breath. So speak to yourself with kindness, play with curiosity, and let your nervous system know it's safe to rest. Dr. Tina returns Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, 8 Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Remember, pleasure is a practice.